But it's very important that people know that they should eat a balanced diet. What do I mean by a balanced diet? Basically, the balanced diet is based on the 5-finger principle, and the first finger being animal protein, and this can be like meat, fish. Then the plant protein, we have the beans, the peas, the soya or the groundnuts. Then we have the carbohydrates, and in our setting usually it's what we call food. This can be matoke, this can be Irish potatoes, this can be sweet potatoes. Then we have the vegetables. The vegetables, we can have nakati, we can have buga, we can have dodo, and we have lastly the fruits. So when you are eating your meal, it's very important to see that you have at least one of these foods on your plate to ensure that you have a balanced diet. Because all these foods have a purpose, they do. For example, the first two, the animal protein and the plant protein, are the bodybuilding foods. So it's very important to include this in your diet. When it comes to the carbohydrates are basically the energy-giving foods. You need energy throughout the day, so it's good you include carbohydrate on your plate. Then the vegetables and the fruits are basically the protective foods, and this help to boost our immune system, as well as they have fiber. Fiber is very good in preventing constipation, so it's important that when you eat, ensure that you have at least one of these foods on your plate. Yes. What should people not eat? Well, it depends, because as I said earlier on, it's very important that you have at least one of the foods on your plate. So if ideally you have each of the food, animal protein, a plant protein, a carbohydrate, a fruit and a vegetable, then you should not include excess food, because ideally we have already our balanced diet. So it doesn't make importance to add extra foods, because they already have the essential ones that you need on your plate. So you should avoid having unnecessary food, and at end of it all, it's just more wastage of food. So you should ensure at least you have at least one of the 5 foods to ensure that you have a balanced diet. There is no food that usually brings complications. The issues that arise, the first important issue is hygiene. It's very important that you wash your hands with water and soap before you prepare your food to avoid contamination. Then when it comes to things like salads, it's very important also that you add vinegar, because vinegar is important in killing some of the bacteria. So when you're preparing things like vegetable salads, you can add some vinegar, because vinegar kills the bacteria. But otherwise, all food should be okay. Just you should be very cautious when it comes to hygiene and the methods of preparation, because the way some people prepare the foods leads to loss of nutrients. For example, the vegetables, when you're making your vegetables, you should wash them over running water instead of soaking them, because when you soak them, some of the nutrients are lost in the water. They are leached out through the water. So it's important that you wash them over running water instead of soaking them. But otherwise, all food should be okay. Just make sure that, as I said earlier on, that you have a balanced diet, including the 5-finger principle. When you have allergy towards a certain food, the best advice I would say is seek medical advice. Yes, the first aid, okay, it depends on the kind of allergy, but the best way to go about it is to seek medical advice, so that they can maybe prescribe for you an anti-allergen that can help you to overcome the allergic reaction. So the way to go is to see a medical professional. Whenever you are allergic to something, the very first thing is to stop eating that food. For example, if you are lactose intolerant and you notice whenever you take milk you get a running stomach, the first option would be, of course, eliminating that food from your diet to avoid the allergic reaction. But otherwise, if you're out in breathing, then of course you would have to seek medical advice. Yes.